Hello, my name is Liza Elise, or Cafe Misery, and today I'm going to be talking about one of the most recent decks as of recording from DZBT12, which is admittedly a bit far back from when I'm recording, that being Deeplands Regoregnus. This list is taking into account the ban list that's upcoming at the end of May, or at the end of April, start of May, that choice restricts Rotting Usurp Dragon and Harvest Elf. And for those who are unfamiliar with this deck, it focuses around using the drop zone and retiring units on board, plus think of it like old school Grand Blue. So one of the big things you're going to be doing is filtering through the deck, dumping cards, getting units that plus off being retired or being called from drop. And without further ado, let's go through the cards. Obviously for our ride line, we got I'm using the 0. It doesn't matter which 0 you use though. The grade 1, Deeplands Grozkane, doesn't do anything until it's rode over by Zilgon, but when it is, you get to search the deck for Call of Deeplands. And put it to hand. Call of Deeplands is an in-archetype order that we'll get to a little bit later. Zilgon is our grade 2 Vanguard, and when it's rode upon by the grade 3 Regoregnus, you get to check the top 7 cards of your deck and ditch 2 of them. This helps you build up your drop really fast. Maybe if you're missing some combo pieces, it'll get them there. And of course, we've got our grade 3 Vanguard, Deeplands Regoregnus, who, as an act ability for 2 energy, gets to call a unit from drop once per turn, and at the end of the battle it attacks by counterposting 1 and retiring 2 of your units. You get to superior ride a Regoregnus with a different name from your drop zone, give it all the trigger increases, so the power and critical increase, and reduce its drive by 2. Going into the main deck here, of course, we've got 3 Persona Rights. And then we're also on 4 copies of Deeplands Athanasios. This is going to be the main Regoregnus you're superior riding into, as it's the only other option. And when it's placed on the Vanguard Circle by the ability of Deeplands Regoregnus, by a Soul Blasting card, you get to call a Deeplands Regoregnus in your drop and call it. And at the end of the turn, you put that Regoregnus you called back on the Vanguard Circle as rest. So that's how you're going to re-ride on that when he attacks. If the opponent's Vanguard is at grade 3 or greater and it was placed from drop, Regoregnus Athanasios will gain an additional drive. So it'll go down to 0. Opponent's on grade 3, it'll go back up to 1. And lastly, on Guardian Circle, for every grade of your Deeplands Vanguard, it's going to gain 5k. So this can be a 15k guard on grade 3, which kind of makes up for the massive amount of grade 3s we're on. Because we also have 4 copies of Call of Deeplands, which is an order that can be played from drop with Soul Blast 1 and retire a rear guard. And what it does, it's going to give Regoregnus an additional 5k and call 2 of your units from drop. And then it does one of 2 things. If there's no copies of it already in the order zone, it's going to put itself there. And if there is a copy already there, you're going to bind it and then pick the one that is in the order zone and increase the power increase from this continuous skill that we'll get to in a moment by 5k. And it has the continuous ability that if the opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, all of the Deeplands units that were placed either by Call of Deeplands or Regoregnus gain an additional 5k, as long as they were called from drop. Notably, that does not say rear guard, so that means the Athanasios, that gets the additional 5 to 10k. Rounding out our grade 3s, of course, I'm cutting Harvest Elf for Rotting Usurp Dragon. It has a very simple ability that when a grade 3 Vanguard is placed, you can call it to Rearguard Circle. The reason I'm on 3 is because we are cutting the Harvest Elf instead, so you're lacking on a little bit of your draw power. You kind of want to make sure you're seeing it because it's one of your main combo pieces. Going into our grade 2s, we're on 4 copies of Deeplands Orgody, which when placed on Rearguard Circle, as long as you have Deeplands Vanguard, for either a counterblast or bring a card from hand to soul, you get to draw 1, and then if the opponent's on grade 3, he gets or if you are on grade 3, my bad, he'll get an extra 5k. And he's also a 10k guard as long as you have a Deeplands Vanguard. You're probably noticing by now that's 2 units in Archetype that have additional guard. They're the only 2, but it means the innate defense of the deck is a little bit better than a lot of other decks. Continuing on, though, we've got 3 copies of Deeplands Maedith, the Koro Koro Volume 2 promo. It has the T-Fold ability that, as long as it wasn't placed by a unit's ability and an order was placed this turn, for a Soul Blast, you get to call a unit from the top 5 cards of your deck or add a normal order from the top 5 to hand. Other than that, though, it has a second ability of if it was played from drop. That for 2 energy, you get to choose an opponent's rear guard and paralyze it. It cannot restand during the opponent's next turn, but it also isn't able to intercept. Other than that, if you do pay that 2 energy cost, if the opponent's Vanguard is on grade 3 or greater, she'll get an extra 5. And she's going to be one of the main ones you're calling off of that Call of Deeplands, because that's going to build your board faster. And of course, the Regalis piece I'm on is Protection Twincast, which is a Blitz order that gives the attacked unit 10 and can be removed to increase the power of a unit that's being attacked by its grade times 5k. You could also be on the Fire Regalis if you want more digging. It's all up to how you want to do it. Going into our grade 1s, I'm on 4 copies of Conceited Noble Philander. That one placed from hand, you get to check the top 5 and ditch one. And as long as your drop has 10 or more cards, he gets an additional 10k, so he's an 18k booster. I'm also on 4 copies of Deeplands Gleon, who has the skill that when it's placed from hand, you can check the top 3 and discard a card, and when it's retired by any player's ability, so your opponent's, for a single counter blast, you get to draw a card. It does only have these skills if you have a Deeplands Vanguard, though, as you can see. Just for regular PGs. The reason for I'm not on Sanctitude is just preference. Going into our trigger lineup, we are on 8 critical triggers. I am using the soul crits. They are not actually necessary in my opinion, though, since Organy can just rebuild soul. I also on 3 draw triggers. And the reason I'm on draw triggers over like shield fronts or soul fronts is Organy refills your soul. You don't need to worry about replaying soul that much. And you are retiring your front row after the Vanguard swing. So a front trigger is only going to be giving it to the Athanasios functionally. It may come up if you see it on the Athanasios swing, but I would much rather be on draw triggers, which is going to increase your hand size. Because you've got 10 to 15 guard, 10k guards. You've got a lot of stuff they can just throw and guard with. And also, without the Harvest Elves, I personally wanted an additional draw piece to help see combo pieces, because you always want an Athanasios, a Rotting Usurp, and a Maedith in rotation at least. Continuing on with the rest of the triggers, I'm on 4 heals as always. I'm on 2 copies of the extra crit. The non-trigger crit counter heals. That is one I am admittedly not completely sold on. I feel like with the upcoming format, I'm probably actually going to be swapping that for the restand heals. And lastly, of course, it's a Storgia deck, so I am on Blessed Favor, the Omni trigger. Now for the pros and cons of the list. Pros, it's got a lot of innate defense, like I was saying. 15k once you're on grade 3, 10k the whole time. And you've got a lot of good targets to just dump for perfect guards. 2, this is a 6 attack deck going first. I personally think the deck is better going second. The extra 5k from Call of Deeplands really does come up. but you are always going to get 6 swings into your opponent no matter what, as long as you see a rotting usurp. 3, it's got a really good resource loop. You're always going to be able to dig down, see your pieces, dig for them. Since you can search out the Call of Deeplands, Zilgon is going to dump 2 more cards, so you're likely to see the missing pieces. And if there's anything else missing that you just don't end up seeing, you've got the Flanders, you've got the Gleons, you've got the Maedith. As long as you have the Maedith, you'll probably end up seeing the other pieces. And my cons with the deck. The biggest one is that I kind of think the deck's boring. Like, this could just be I'm still relatively fresh off the Philly BCS playing a different list of this, but you're always doing the same attack pattern each turn with mild variance depending on matchup. I don't like leaving stuff on board for decks that's gonna permanently remove them, for example. But, like, that's annoying. That's a big thing for me, is I personally just find the deck kind of boring at this point. Along with that, it's really susceptible, like I just said, to bind and or anything that would permanently make you lose a combo piece if you don't end up seeing multiples. And because it's so piece reliant, you would think that that's gonna be the third issue. No, you're pretty likely to see every piece. But this is my Deeplands list for the upcoming May 1st ban list at the end of the month. If you guys like the video, like the deck, I just kind of want to suggest a deck, see if I have the cards for it. Do all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz, and I will see y'all next time. Ciao.